Happy Guam. I'm Leah Clavea with the Joint Region Marianas Public Affairs Office. Every day we are surrounded by our island's rich history and culture, and sometimes we go without noticing how close we are to it and the stories behind them. A perfect example is Padre Palomo Park that is easily seen driving down Marine Corps Drive, as well as the U.S. Naval Cemetery that sits right beside it. Today I'm here with Tony Ramirez, who's going to be sharing with us about the history of the park and the cemetery. Thank you, Tony, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much, and happy day, and welcome to both parks. This park is called the Padre Jose Bernardo Palomo y de Torres Memorial Park, and it was dedicated in 1969, and it was established by the Guam Women's Club at that time. But the reason why the park was named after Padre Palomo, who eventually became a Monsignor in the ranks of the Roman Catholic Church, was that the school, the Padre Palomo School pre-war, was built here, and that was dedicated in 1969. So one of the interpretive signs right here as you enter the park shows you the school that was established here back in 1929 by Governor Willis E. Bradley, and that's why this place eventually, after the war, when they were developing all these different park areas, this was adopted by the Guam Women's Club and named appropriately as the Padre Palomo Memorial Park. He is the first known chamorro priest in the Roman Catholic Church. But what made him very important in the history of Guam was that he was the link and one of the most important figures in Guam's history in the transition between the Spanish administration to the early American administration, which fell under the U.S. naval government. This is really a place of contemplation. It's not a place for major events as hosting any other major event, but just a place for ceremonies, either civil or religious ceremonies to be held here. The U.S. Naval Cemetery, the veterans that are buried there first are the veterans of the Spanish-American War, the veterans of World War I, the veterans of World War II, the veterans of the Korean conflict. Also, the dependents are also buried there at the U.S. Naval Cemetery. Civilians also are buried at the U.S. Naval Cemetery if they are connected with the U.S. naval government at the time, and in the post-war period are also buried there. The last burial recorded at the cemetery is 1955. So you're talking about a span of from 1899 up until 1955. It's a dual partnership, but we also have a very special partner, and that is the U.S. Navy. I don't know the acronym of their reference today, but in the beginning, in 2004, they adopted the park, and at that time, the reference was HC-25, based out of Anderson, the helicopter squadron. It's really interesting that you're interviewing me today, because this marks their 10th anniversary of their, of the maintenance of the cemetery. And having worked at parks and having been involved with many community service, volunteer service in beautifying Guam, I really have to commend the Navy, that particular group, for 10 years of continual service to maintain the park. But rightly so, because it is the Hagatna U.S. Naval Cemetery. It's a part of the U.S. naval history of Guam. That's unquestionable. And like I said, not only is it a part of the U.S. naval history, if you go into the website, you aren't going to find that many U.S. naval cemeteries. Guam has one of them.
Thank you, Tony, again for joining us today and sharing with us about the history of the Padre Palomo Park and the U.S. Naval Cemetery.
Oh, thank you so much, and happy day to you also, and for featuring these historic sites here in Guam. Thank you so much.
The next time you head south on Marine Corps Drive, pull over and discover for yourselves a part of Guam's history. Thank you for joining us. Adios!